What's up, FT? It's Braun. It is AJ. It is Jason Kipnis back in the house. Dude, are you in Chicago right now?
I am.
I'm going to ask you about a ball
City
club
of
there.
Winners.
Hey, what?
City of winners.
Yeah, city of winners right now on many fronts. AJ, you okay?
Hey, I was trying to find a beer. So here, cheers. The White Sox are legal.
Oof. So since the All-Star break, our friend Bob Nightingale put this out there. There's 5 teams, 4 games above 500 or better since the All-Star break. 2 of them, actually, the Padres and D-backs are 8 games above 500 since the All-Star break. The A's are 4 games above 500 since the All-Star break. There's 3 teams, 4 games below or more 500 mark. The Tigers are 4 under 500 since the break. The Phillies are 8 under since the break. The White Sox are 17 games under since the All-Star break. So let's charge the damn Mound to do a little therapy sesh because we are witnessing history, folks. Kip, we don't have you on every day, and you're in the city of losing. Your words and mine. Your thoughts so far on the Chicago White Sox dropping another game? Wasn't particularly close. It wasn't super lopsided, but it wasn't close to the Oakland A's, who used to be the most laughable team in the sport.
I think of it through the lens of a player, or I try to at least a perspective of what it would have been like to go through that during my career. At some point, every player is going to go through some losing streak, whether it's 3, 5, 6 games, something. You're not going to get out of a career without one of those. 21 games is that they're up to, and it's just like that's not. I mean, I obviously haven't watched every game. You're not just bad, but you're unlucky too. Like you haven't got lucky once. You haven't had just one shutdown start from a starter that you've pushed a couple runs across. Like nothing's going right for them, and give them all the credit. They are. It's like you could try to lose 21 and still win one. So this is just it's really bad, and yeah, it's not really fun to watch. It's fun to watch for the historical perspective that we're getting right now, but other than that, not too much.
Kip, let me tell you something. It's hard to be lucky when you're 0 – oh gosh, what's the number there? 0-50, over 0-50. It might be almost 0-60 now when trailing after 6 innings. They haven't won one game. They haven't had one comeback this year where they're like, all right, we're down a run in like the 7th, right? And they bring in a reliever and someone pops a 2-run homer and they finish the game out. They haven't had one of those this year. And then if you look at their record when they're leading after 6 innings, they have like 17 or 18 losses leading after 6 innings. So it is like incredible what's happening. And listen, man, I feel sorry for these players. I really do, because there's some guys on there that are good big leaguers, have been big leaguers. You look at like John Brebbie. Now, listen, Paul DeYoung and Tommy Pham and those guys got out of there, but there's some guys on this team that have been around a little bit. Not a lot, but there's a couple. And then you have some guys that have been on good White Sox teams. Andrew Vaughn was there in 21. You know, Gavin Sheets has been around a little bit. There's some guys, Luis Robert. So there's some guys that have been on some decent teams, but man, this year is just nothing. Like, I don't want to call it unlucky, but just nothing has gone right at all. And you said they can't get a good start. Well, they get a guy at those 6 innings, 1 run, they score 0, and the bullpen comes in and gives up 4 or 5. It's just been everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
I just wonder how their mentality is, because that's going to weigh on you. That's going to, as a team, as a player, individual, everything. You're going to start showing up to the field. Terrible to say, but you're expecting to lose, which is the opposite of what you need. You want to be showing up to the field expecting to win that game that day, anticipating that you're going to win. And they're in the exact opposite right now. They're going to be like, as soon as the other team scores 1 run, we're like, oh, here we go again. And so it's a mental battle that they have to climb every single morning they get out of bed to go to work and be professional still and do that. But like they really need – you just got to pretend each game is like not your World Series, but you're just got to do whatever you can to win one. Start with 1. Just like if you're in 1 run – get on the top of the railing, start screaming, do something, be into it. Because what else do you have to lose right now?
Hey, Kip. No, you're right. And as we can see
agree.
here.
Did you see Miguel Vargas last night, though, when they lost again? Did you see the look on his face? I mean, that picture, that's poor Andrew Vaughn. I mean, That is like the worst timing of all time for someone to take a photo,
one of the
right?
filters.
Oh, but I mean, they showed Miguel Vargas after the game last night sitting in the dugout with just like he was like,
it's just a quicksand feeling. It's just like the harder you try, the more you sink. But it comes down to mentality, I know, and that's good and bad because it can just weigh on you when you do not expect to win.
And for Vargas, it's like, hey, you're the savior, bro. You better put a smile on that face. We need you. You got to be a middle of the order bat. That's what they're expecting. So one other layer here. So Kip, I mean, you were a guy. I mean, AJ's gone over this stuff quite a bit already, but you were a guy that a manager would look to and say, hey, like, I need you to rally the troops. I remember your great story about facing tough pitchers and then going back to the dugout and being like, he was nothing. I mean, he got lucky on that pitch, whatever it is, right? To keep the confidence up. Yeah. What does Pedro Grifol do? I mean, obviously many people are shocked that he still has the job, but how do you talk to your team? How do you talk to individual players? How do you talk to the media at this point? And then, I mean, there are reports all over the place. I mean, one of the big radio stations, the Score out there, one of the guys saying, Pedro told his team, if this goes down as one of the worst seasons ever, it's on absolutely no one but the players, and that running and batting practice have been mandated. That was disputed from some people, but he doubled down and said, no, that's true recently. So there's a feud now with him and the White Sox broadcaster. So it's getting ugly as expected when it gets to this level.
You asked me what I would do. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't double down on the players and make them feel even worse than they already probably do. Again, perspective's everything, whether in life or on the baseball field. How you change your mindset to look at something is huge. You're not in the playoffs. Pedro's probably not here next year. That to be seen, but whatever. So how can we look at this? How can we make it fun? How can we get something out of this still, even if we're one of the worst teams historically ever? So I think you have to have fun. You have to bring the fun back because it's not fun to lose. So even if it's like kind of a fake it till you make it type situation, or you say, hey, if I know a lot of guys are going to be fired or we're going out, let's go out on our own terms. Let's have a side competition here. Let's do some fun stuff to try to just get some kind of spark where we're not concentrating on that scoreboard so hard because as we watch it go into the other team's favor, it sinks our feelings. But let's worry about something else instead of. So you just get your mind into a different place than just the scoreboard watching of your own demise.
Well, how do you do that though? I mean, explain, because I mean, like how do you do that? Because this is the big leagues. This is professional baseball. This isn't little league where you're like, hey, let's just go have fun, guys. Because when you go have fun, it's fun when you're winning. It's fun when you're hitting. It's fun when you're throwing shutouts. It's fun when you're winning. I mean, That's it. And when you haven't won in so long, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Kip. I wish that somebody could say like, hey, let's, pretend we have 40 games left and we're going to go 40-0. Let's go team. But like deep down, the players that have been there all year are like, this isn't going to happen. And now we're just faking it. I don't know, man. It would just drive you crazy. And I agree with what you're saying. Like, you got to find a way as professionals. But at the same time, like, think about some of these, like Miguel Vargas gets traded over. He hasn't won a game yet, right? These guys haven't won a game in it's going on almost a month now, if you count the All-Star break, right? So
I'm not. Yeah.
How do you talk yourself into that? Because I can't figure it out.
I'm not saying like a rah-rah, let's go have fun type. Come on, guys, let's just like forget the records. Let's just go have fun today. No, you're asking what to do to have that. I don't know, like someone go take out $1,000 from an ATM and be like, here's $100. I'm going to tape it to the wall. Extra base hit, take down 100. You make little bets. You make side bets. You make something where you're like rallying guys to keep them locked in for 9 innings, which they already should be. That's what being professional is. But just some kind of competitions, games, anything that can get your mind into a different mindset than a 21-game losing mindset, I guess, is what I was trying to say.
Well, don't worry. This is not the end of this, FT fam. Ozzie Guillen is going to join us later. Mm-hmm. Hey, the pre and post gets ratings, and I will give a ton of credit because I know some teams hover over every aspect of content and broadcasting. They let them do their thing. on the pre and post. It's entertaining. You will never see ratings like this for a pre and a post game, because in a season like, with Oakland or the Marlins, whatever, people aren't watching, as much to see what's going on with a team that's a million games out. For this, they're watching to see what Ozzie says and what Frank Thomas says and Chuck Garfie and the whole deal. So anyway, we'll get to that. Let's get to some winning. A little wild card race, and the Red Sox are trying to stay relevant right now as they take down the Kansas City Royals. It was the Cedon Rafaela show. Last night he made a ridiculous catch, which we'll show you in a sec. But current standings here with the wild card race, obviously here at the top, if you're looking right now. If you're listening on the podcast, I'll list it for you. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the show. Orioles and Yankees, one of them is going to get the AL East. The other one's going to get a wild card position in all likelihood. Then you've got the Twins at 63 and 48. Twins also creeping on the Cleveland Guardians. We can get to that later too. And then the Royals at 63 and 51 with the third wild card spot. But here we go. It's a great matchup to have in August. I don't think you necessarily anticipate in February or March, AJ, looking at the standings and being like, Red Sox Royals, that's going to be lit in early August. But it is. It means a ton. I mean, this is a direct way to pass your competition right now if you're Boston.
Yeah, they can make up ground. And they played great last night. James Paxton, remember, they went out and got James Paxton. He pitched great for him last night. He outpitched Brady Singer, who's been awesome for Kansas City. Cedon Rafaela made the unbelievable catch, but they swung the bat, man. Devers just seems to get a big hit every time he comes up in that situation. And they are playing really well right now for the Red Sox. And they're not in the playoffs right now, but they are on the doorstep knocking, and man, it is going to be fun down the stretch. Not only American League, but National League too. But you're right, Scott, when you said they have an opportunity to make up ground. When you play the team directly in front of you, you have to win those games if you want to catch them.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on the pickups. I know, Luis Garcia gave up a run, but that's a guy they picked up. Lucas Sims pitched yesterday for an out. That's a guy they picked up. Paxton they picked up, of course. So you're seeing some of the pickups on the pitching side help instantly here. The Royals did a lot, too, to help their side at the trade deadline. But, Kip, what do you think of these two? And do you like one team better than the other? Obviously, the Royals are in the driver's seat, but not by much.
Well, we're seeing the fun part of adding another playoff spot, adding like an extra wild card or something like that. You're going to have more teams that aren't always in it now be in it. So you're going to have a lot more fun games down the stretch here. You literally, I mean, not just record-wise, these teams are very evenly matched where they have a bunch of like Bobby Witt and Devers are just two standout studs of this game that are just some of the most fun at-bats to watch. I'm still not even sure why Kansas City's only about, 2 games behind the Yankees? And I just feel like Bobby Witt needs more talk in the MVP conversation. I don't know I know Judge is just the runaway obvious pick right now, but I think it's not as far as people think it is. If I had to pick one down the stretch, it's probably Boston because they have more players who have been there before. I think they got that veteran, but it's just Kansas City's playing with kind of that free attitude. So it'll be tough. If I had to gun to the head take one, it's Boston, but I really like watching Kansas City play.
What about the schedule, though? What about the schedule? Because Kansas City, listen, I know there's about 3 AL Central teams that are above 500, but the Red Sox still got the Orioles. They still got a bunch of teams that are considered tough AL East.
Kansas City gets the White Sox.
No, they're done with the White Sox, I believe.
Done with the White Sox?
Yeah, I think they're done with the White Sox. So, and they only
how many games? It's 13 games right now, and they're 12.
Yeah, you know how many games? Yeah, they went 12-1 against the White Sox this year.
Yeah, the Twins did too. The Twins and the Royals both 12-1 because the Twins are only I think 3.5 back now in the AL Central, which is the closest they've been to the Guardians since mid-May. So the White Sox are certainly making an impact in the standings. You can't stop talking about them.
Listen, the Tigers have it. The Royals, have it tough. They play the Red Sox, Cardinals, who are in it, then the Twins, the Reds, the Angels, but then they go Phillies, Guardians, Astros, Guardians, Twins, Yankees. That's a pretty tough run right there, right? Then they go to Pittsburgh, Tigers. Then they end with the Giants at home, and then they finish at the Nationals, at the Braves. So I think that's a pretty tough run that they're going to have to be on
I can give you the Royals.
That was the Royals.
Oh, sorry. The Red Sox.
Okay, give me the Red Sox.
Okay, so for the Red Sox for the rest of the month here after KC, they're back at home against Houston and then the Rangers. Then they're on the road for Baltimore and the Astros. Then they're at home against the Diamondbacks. Then they get 4 against the Blue Jays. And then into September, they're at Detroit, at the Mets. They do have 3 more against the White Sox.
Yes, they do. I'm doing one of those games too, by the way. I'm doing the Saturday game. Lucky me.
Oh, the 7th. Good for you. Hey, it's going to have implications on one end. And then the Red Sox, you're right, though. They still have another run in a week stretch against the Orioles and the Yankees. And the Rays aren't a pushover. They have the Twins and more Rays to end the season. So, yeah, I mean, both of them have a pretty hefty schedule the rest of the way. So let's do this. We're going to step aside because we're going to talk about the team that the Royals are going to play in their next series, the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll get a little checkup on how they're doing with Derrick Goold from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch next on FT. All right, we're back for a sec for the YouTube fam and answering questions as we're going to try and do more and more during the breaks here for the TV breaks. So Tommy in the chat said, if the White Sox win a game, are they allowed to celebrate with great jubilation as if they just won the World Series? World Series might be pushing it, but are they allowed to celebrate? Like,
hell yeah, they should celebrate.
Big? Yeah.
They should go big. I mean, yeah. I mean, wouldn't you, Kip? You lose 3. They haven't won in almost a month, bro. They haven't won in almost a month.
It's probably going to be less of a big celebration and more of just the weight off the shoulders kind of thing. It's just going to be they're going to be able to breathe for a second, which they haven't been able to do it, like AJ just said, in almost a month.
Good question, though, because it's weird.
Losing then, too.
Right. And then you don't have to answer questions about that. Now you're just back to being whatever. This is the kicker right now, is that they're dealing with this losing skid. I mean, if they put together 8-game losing skids, 10-game losing skids, whatever, it's one thing. But the reason we're leading off a show in August is because they might set a record for longest losing skid of the season. They might set a record for worst loss or worst record ever, right? Most losses in the modern era. That's why we're leading this off. If they're your run-of-the-mill 108 loss team and they're just mixing in a win every once in a while, we probably barely talk about them the rest of the way. So just something to keep in mind.
They become the Rockies or the Marlins or someone like that you're like, okay, yeah, they stink, but they're, there's something. But this has an opportunity. I mean, it's already gotten historical, but like you start talking like 120 losses, like that's never happened before. So that's why it's such a big deal.
Exactly. I think there was some expectation that they might change the manager, given that, you want to bring some younger players up, but you don't want to bring them up in this atmosphere. You want to try and switch it up. So with all of that adding up, that's the problem right now. If you have a question about the Cardinals and you're in the chat, Derrick Goold is joining us in like 20 seconds. Be right back. All right, we're back with our friend Derrick Goold from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, joining us right now to talk a little bit about the St. Louis Cardinals. Derrick, great to have you back on. I'm going to hit you with, a heavy hitter right off the top here. So I saw some chatter in social media. Exactly. You know me. I'm not just going to be like, hey, how you doing? How's life? I want to know, do the St. Louis Cardinals have a clear-cut identity and an edge this year that could convince you they're going to be a playoff team and maybe even a pain to deal with in a postseason series?
That is a great question. And that's come up like quite a bit. Like, what is the identity of this team? That's both come up from the fans, from the media, but also from the team itself, right? Like they went out this winter and said that they wanted to add some veteran edge. Lance Lynn, who you guys know well, is a frequent guest on your show and brings his edge right to any question you ask. But they also wanted to add like guys like Matt Carpenter. And then during the spring, they added Brandon Crawford. And they talked about like, okay, part of the identity of this team is going to be this veteran group that knows how to get through a long season, that knows the ups and downs of it, that has had success in October. And then also, mix that with some young upstart players, one of whom has really stood out in Mason Wynn, and another who carried the offense there for a while in Alec Burleson. So that was the identity that they wanted, was both the kind of competitive edge and grit and force out of the veteran starters like Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, and of course Sonny Gray, and then that mix. Has it all come together, I think, is the next part of your question. And it really hasn't meshed. I mean, look, they've had their identity is resilient for sure. I mean, they got off to such a difficult start and were playing some unfamiliar baseball. The offense really struggled. The weight was really on the bullpen. And so the bullpen emerged as kind of the defining characteristic. So it hasn't been the identity they expected as far as leading them to wins, but it's been the identity, that veteran kind of balance that they needed to get through more rocky times than they wanted. If that answers your question.
It makes sense. It makes sense with it because last year I think they wilted obviously pretty quickly, and then they never recovered. So at least this year they bounced back. Now They made the moves. They brought in Lynn, like all the guys you mentioned. But what I wonder is it still enough? Is it going to be enough? Because they got right there, and now they're almost falling back to 500. Yes, they went out and got Tommy Pham. Eric Fetty didn't pitch great his first start. Lynn's on the IL, right? Arenado still is kind of struggling from where he was. Goldschmidt's picked it up. But, do they still have enough, or could John Mozeliak have done more? Because it still seems, if you look at it from an outsider, it still looks like they might be a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is they could always do more, and they could have done like a higher impact move, or they could have gone and tried. I mean, I'm not sure how many of those starters were available that radically would have changed the rotation more. Like you go, all right, this is the number one guy. This is the game one starter for the playoffs, right? How many of those guys moved? They targeted Fetty pretty early on. They liked what he brought. They saw him as a guy who could really help the rotation and has more upside to him. When you think about like the offense has struggled, but what do you add that is going to pick up where the guys that they need, the guys that they count on to be the nucleus, they need production from those guys. You're not going to move them aside. You're not going to adjust. You might adjust the lineup, but you're not going to replace any of those guys. You just need more from them. I think it's interesting, AJ, that you mentioned that because that comes up not just this year, but that's like kind of the tagline of the Cardinals. I know, you guys know Mike Farron really well, and he and I got to talking about this a few years ago, that was kind of the perception of the Cardinals is they just come one step shy of going the distance. They put together a good team that's going to compete, but they do the one move shy of being the favorite. They kind of want to be the team that, has everything in line so that it surprises people if everything goes right, and they just don't make that next move. They're very conservative in that regard, and it's part of the risk management. And they'll say it's their model. Last year caught up with them. They didn't do that one extra move. They didn't really do the one move that they needed for the pitching, and it all cratered on them. This year, I think, to your point, you might be looking back at like what could they do offensively, or if they do get into the playoffs, what upgrade could they have made to the rotation, maybe even ahead of the trade deadline, that would change the look of a playoff. You guys are right. I'm not sure that they know who they are going into the playoff, except for they're going to count on trying to get hot to get in and then hope that that's what guides them through.
Makes sense. It makes sense. You have to be proud, though, of what John Mozeliak did to get Pham and Fetty, because he didn't give up anything, really. I mean, how did he pull this off? Because he gave up. Listen, Tommy Edman is a nice player, but he hasn't played one inning for the Cardinals this year. And that was what he gave up. And he got two bona fide big league players back to bolster their playoff hopes.
Yeah. And he expanded the deal too, after knowing that the Dodgers wanted Tommy Edman. And they knew that they could get that deal done where the White Sox would be the go-between, because, the Cardinals didn't want to deal directly with the Dodgers that weren't interested in what they had to offer, but they were very much interested in adding Fetty. And the White Sox wanted to get the prospects from the Dodgers. And so when all that was in place with the White Sox as the go-between, and quick aside, Fetty actually got the last win that the White Sox had. So that tells you, I know you guys were talking about how long ago it was, but that kind of puts in perspective how long it's been since the White Sox won, that he might get a win for the Cardinals before they get their next win since he won for them. But, they then had that deal in place, and Mosaic wanted to expand it to FAM. And what does it take to get that done? And the Cardinals did not still at that point add anything in the deal that goes to the White Sox. And they come out of it with cash, potential of a player to be named later, and the pitcher that they wanted and the right-handed outfielder that they wanted. So how he got that price down was a lot of leveraging the Dodgers' interest in Tommy Edman and then capitalizing on the White Sox interest in the Dodgers players. And that meant the Cardinals got to maximize what those teams wanted from each other and really move on without, losing any player that they had been counting on here for the first months of this season because of Edman's injury.
What was the word after that trade was pulled off because they were able to, accomplish so much in one deal? Did they kind of jump and cheer? I mean, I know Tommy Edman obviously holds, some weight within the organization, but it's easier to say goodbye when A, the player hasn't played yet this year, so there's injury risk, and B, they had guys to an extent in his spot. I know he can play basically anywhere, but was there jubilation? Because usually to pull off a deal like that, you have to give up a pretty high level prospect that might end up really costing you. And also on the topic of cost, I think Tommy Edman's like a $10 million player probably heading into next season. And that's not nothing for the Cardinals.
Right. No, and they signed him to a 2-year deal after he had the wrist surgery, and they locked him in and they advertised him as their starting center fielder. And then they didn't quite know if he would, when he returned, would he be the starting center fielder, given how Michael Ciani has played. Now, obviously Ciani is injured, so the equation has changed, but they didn't know that at the time. Was there jubilation? No, I mean, look, like Tommy Edman is a huge part of the kind of the culture, and he really personifies in a lot of ways what the Cardinals want to be, right? They like their versatile players. They like their versatile infielders. They like their guys who are exceptional defensively. And you look at a lot of what, the advanced metrics and what the overall kind of value look of what Edman brings to the game and how much of that is defensive. He's got a Gold Glove for infield play. He probably, if healthy this year or maybe healthy next year, he probably could win a Gold Glove if they start him in center field out there. He's really gifted defensively and builds up a lot of value that way. And the Cardinals like that. They want to be a strong defensive club. So no, there wasn't really jubilation. There was a sly grin when they saw the price of some of the other pitchers going. You look at what Astros paid to get Kikuchi, and Fetty is he's signed through next year. So, and if he pitches like he has been for the White Sox, if he pitches like that for the Cardinals for the remainder of this year and then next year, that is such a market friendly price too. I mean, they essentially would get like maybe a guy who'd be a really robust number 3 at a contract, which really fits into allowing them to do other things. And they got it by moving a contract that was going to cost them more next year. It really was a deal that got them happy. But jubilant, no. A smirk or sly grin or a poker player, I got you. Definitely, that was definitely the kind of facial expression, if you want one.
I know it was only one start, but there's no concern with any regression for Fetty, right? There's just that kind of an outlier, getting accustomed to a new team, right? Getting a new environment and everything like that. A winning environment right now would be a different way to put it. There's no concerns from the team or anything like that. They didn't see anything in this first start.
No, I mean, look, he settled in after a really rocky inning. He had a really rocky inning where the pitch that he needed most was misbehaving, and you guys know what that's like. Yep. I mean, if the cutter starts misbehaving, it's a high risk pitch then, and the Cubs took advantage. He settled in. Some of it he said he really wanted to make a first impression, strong first impression. You're right. I mean, look, he's in a pennant race, a playoff race, I guess we call it now, not pennant races anymore. I need to adjust my phrasing. I need to update, I guess. A playoff race. And he said I wanted a lot. I wanted to impress a lot, and he said you can't dismiss that. As far as like being jumpy a little bit and trying to overdo it, but also trying to find a way without his best pitch. So no, there's not like some moment. There's a lot of excitement, and they're really intrigued in what he could do. With their strong defense behind him, with, you're right, the different kind of clubhouse, a lot at stake. They're real eager. And this goes back. I mean, they saw what he was doing when he came back. They saw actually what he was doing overseas and looked into signing him as a free agent. And the White Sox did, because the Cardinals did the moves that we talked about earlier. But they were really intrigued. They thought even then, like, what could he do with this group at this ballpark? With this defense, all of that. And so they're encouraged. I mean, they're optimistic about how his fit. They're not set back at all by how his debut went.
Yeah, going to get these. Oh, go, Scott.
No, that's AJ. Kip, you go. You got one more.
Just with you said with the excitement of getting these guys, I was trying to bring up the schedule fast. I couldn't, off the top of your head, by any chance, do you know how many games you guys have against Milwaukee still? Or 6 games left? Okay, it's a good amount to go get them.
Yeah.
It's you want that excitement from the trade deadline. That's what you want when you're in it. You want your team to go make those moves that do that. I know getting guys like Pham and someone who hits is always exciting. The clubhouse guys, I was trying to think of how many people are left over from when he was there before. To where
Lance Lynn and Matt Carpenter are back for an encore.
Yeah,
they're getting everybody back together.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering. I think that then Carpenter's the best guy for that to lead the way with Nolan and all these other guys and Lynn and these other guys. So perfect. So it should be a fun race. And if you have 6 games left, then that gives you ample time to do what you guys need to do.
Yeah, the schedule is going to be a real factor here, and I'm glad you brought up. It's not just the Brewers, right? 28 of the next 31. Let me rephrase that. Going into yesterday's game against the Mets, 28 of 31 were against winning teams. Most of those games were against first or second place teams. All of those 28 were against teams ahead of them in the standings, right? And I'm including American League games in there, right? Like they got Tampa Bay and they got the Yankees in there, and they got a bunch in there. But they have 22 consecutive games against winning teams in that mix, right in the heart of that. So it's bookended by a series against the Reds, but 22 consecutive. You talk about having to go against the best to prove you belong with the best. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to be playing playoff teams for their playoff lives, and it's going to be a real question of whether or not this offense perks up after its Wrigley hibernation to carry them.
All right. Before we let you go, Derek, I have like 3 questions you can quick hit on them for me. One, what have you done to your dog that won't stop yapping? Like, have you not fed your dog this morning? I don't understand.
No, she wants attention. I thought, all right, she's going to enjoy the sun and everything, but no, she wants attention. I miscalculated on that part. So sorry about that.
We're dog lovers. You could just hold your dog on your lap while you do that.
I could go get her. I could go get Marvel. No. She loves attention.
Okay, kind of like Derrick Goold when he writes one of his columns. We get it. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, and then I have to ask these real quick. Is Dylan Carlson the next big outfielder to go for the Cardinals because he's just been disappointing?
Dylan Carlson, you say?
Yeah.
Like, is he the one to take off with another team?
No. Meaning, like, is he going to be the next one we see? Because Edman and some of these other guys they've counted on, like, have kind of started to go by the wayside now.
Oh, we'll see what he does this week. I mean, he's here in town now with Tampa Bay, playing against the Cardinals, and we'll see what he does. He already has a home run, there for the Rays, and I think it'll be really interesting what he does with more opportunity. That's the story, right? You want to talk about Juan Yepez, the first baseman with the Nationals, and all he's doing, or Lane Thomas and what he did with the Nationals. The Cardinals again and again and again are seeing these guys blossom elsewhere when they get more opportunity to play, and the Cardinals just didn't have that for him. The Cardinals didn't have that for Dylan Carlson. He'd be the starting center fielder now because of injury, but I'm real eager to see what he does. I mean, switch hitter, guy who really didn't have a role and kind of knew it here, but now has a place, fresh start. I'm eager to see what he does. There'll be a lot of attention on him with them coming right back, the boomerang, bringing him right back into Busch Stadium to play against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant like Randy Arozarena. Sorry, you know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying. Like,
You're good. I know what
I
you mean.
misspoke. Yeah, you know what I meant. They give up on their outfitters and they go somewhere, and then all of a sudden you have all these guys, boom, that
Yeah.
are like, oh wow, man, the Cardinals maybe should have kept them. So
Yeah, I think
apologies.
he
You
might be.
answered.
No, it's cool. I think he might be.
Yeah, you answered it the correct way. And then my last thing before we let you go is Jordan Walker. Are we ever going to see
Mhm.
him again? Is he a piece of the future? Or has he lost his opportunity to
No,
become like the next great Cardinal?
and not lost the opportunity. No. Now, when's the future, right? Like they had an opening on the roster here with Michael Ciani's oblique strain. They definitely have a need for a right-handed bat of some type because Tommy Pham's been in the lineup so much. So that means the bench is without the right-handed bat. And Jordan and Luken Baker, but Jordan specifically, since you asked about him, did not get the return. He's on a real hot spell right now, and what he's doing more consistently over the past week plus there is a lot of what they've looked for him to do consistently. That's a trend. Those are like results that are paying off for all the work that he's doing away from the video, away from the game, with the coaches and the cages, all that stuff. And so there is a definite uptick there with production starting to reflect the changes in the work. That puts him on track to return. And, I asked Mozeliak that exact question. I was like, look, the trade deadline has come and gone. You added Pham. Where's the future for Jordan Walker with this team? And he said there is one. When there's a lot of playing time, they'll move him up. He needs to play. But he didn't put like a timetable on that. Now, does the need bring him back quicker? We'll see. If they continue to struggle against lefties, this is something that they're going to have to face. If he continues to hit like he has here recently, he might force the issue. But if you expand the future to not just this year, but next year, yes, I mean, he is part of their plans in a lot of ways. They've put time in to unlock more power from him so that they get to take advantage of that, not see him go off and become the next ALCS MVP for another team when they trade him.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's one they'd be very worried about, much more so than Dylan. I mean, I don't think Dylan's ceiling is all-star. I think it's more he could be a nice regular player. Like Jordan Walker has the ceiling. It might not be reached, but he's 22 years old,
Hey,
so good
don't
call.
sell the Rays short. They do this with everybody.
True.
I mean, Palacios is there too. The Cardinals traded him, and he did well when he was healthy for them. So it happens.
They might want to just not give the Rays their outfielders anymore, just for a little bit. If Carlson takes off, we'll see. Derek, great talking to you.
This time around, they like getting Kittredge back, so that's worked out well for them.
Yeah. Hey, you get your returns, all right? Yeah, the Rays have been scrapping it down lately to build it back up. Derek, great talking to you. Tell the pup we said what's up. Give the pup all the love. And give Derek a follow at D Gould and read his work in the St. Louis Post.
Hey, tell Carpenter Just for Men will work wonders for that gray, okay? I don't use it. He needs it. Tell him I said that.
I will pass that along to him today from you.
Yes.
Perfect.
Appreciate you. See you, Derek. All right, so FT fam, we saw some of your questions coming through. We asked some of them, of course, including the Jordan Walker question. I saw Scarlett asking the question about Edman, which we got to. Donnie Brooks, a regular in the chat, asked, is it a given that they let Goldie walk at the end of the season? And guys, I don't think it's a given. I also think Goldie is going to cost significantly less. Remember, John Mozeliak was on our show in spring training and said that he met with him, I think in person in the offseason to see if they could work something out. They didn't. Goldie's not having a good year, and you're going to start to play that age game where front offices will use that against you. They're going to say, this is the new you because you're whatever he is, 35 years old.
Yeah. And he's not having a great year. I mean, he's having an okay year, but he's not having a great year.
Not having a Goldschmidt year.
No, that's what I'm saying. So what were his demands before the year? We don't know. But remember, Mozeliak, like you said, came on and said, we're going to let this year play out and see what happens. Well, can they find a cheaper alternative at first base that's younger, more athletic, and in a better spot? That's going to be the hard part for the Cardinals. I mean, would they bring him back maybe on a 1-year cheaper deal? I could see something like that happening, but will Goldschmidt and his representatives go for that? I don't know. I love I love Paul Goldschmidt as a player and as a person, so I think he's a great fit in St. Louis, but we'll see what happens. They have some tough decisions coming up because they got to find new pitchers too, don't forget, because Lynn and Gibson are going to be free agents again.
That's true. For Goldie, I mean, he's not at league average right now for OPS plus. He's 36. He's at an 88 OPS plus, 675 OPS on the season. They're going to use that against you. That's all.
Oh,
I mean, that actually might help them bring him back because it's not going to cost them a ton. You're going to test the market. He's not getting $20 million a year.
Some team will still grab him. I think.
He's not done. I'm just saying
we'll let him go because I think that's a good place where they can open up a position and save some money too.
Maybe Jordan Walker ends up there. Honestly, I don't know if he's a big league outfielder. I mean, obviously he's young. We'll see, but they might want him at first. No,
they're not going to move him. He was a good outfielder when he came up last year. I mean, he worked on some stuff. He can throw, right? But he was getting better. You're not going to want to take a kid who's already struggled at the big league level, who you've already sent down, unless you put him at first base in the minor leagues. Now, if you put him at first base in the minor leagues and let him figure it out, you're not going to want to, right, Kip? You're not going to want to throw him to the Wolves at first base in the big leagues and be like, hey, you've never played here, go get him.
Don't add more to his plate while he's still trying to figure out the other stuff.
Natural position in the past was corner infield. Just saying. Time for better than box scores. So first off, I mentioned this. The Twins now are 3.5 back. It's the closest they've been since May 17th to first place. Guardians, Diamondbacks was a great back and forth. I was locked in on that one early because that was my lock. And I was like, it was a very sweaty bet. But the D-backs did prevail. But two good teams you're looking at. Teams that are clutch. They deliver when they're down with runners on, the whole deal. But the Diamondbacks end up on top. Jock August, I guess you could call it. He's had two huge clutch home runs for them. But anyway, that loss for Cleveland puts the Twins very much within striking distance at this point, Kip. Also, Carlos Correa is still out right now. I mean, that's their whole thing is they've got 3 or 4 bats that can really impact a game, and they just haven't been able to have them all in the field at the same time much.
No, they're making a good little run right now, especially with the hard part of Cleveland's schedule, who I think's just had Philadelphia, Orioles, and the Diamondbacks right now all in a row. So if they were ever to make a move, it'd be right now. Again, this is a team that I think a lot of people had predicted to win the division, if I'm correct. So it's not too surprising to see them kind of here coming down the stretch and making their little run. I obviously biased. I hope and don't think it'll be enough to catch Cleveland in the end, but they for sure are going to make things interesting. They got that starting staff. That's one of the most important things to have, and that's going to carry them.
And then, go ahead, AJ.
No, they better go with it because their bullpen is what's been carrying them.
Oh,
Cleveland. The bullpen's the best bullpen in the league right now. So their starting staff is – what's up?
Cleveland or Minnesota?
Cleveland. I'm talking about Cleveland.
I was talking about Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know. What I'm saying is Minnesota's bullpen's been damn good too, right?
Yeah.
They're really good. The thing about the Cleveland is they've hit and they need to keep hitting.
Yeah.
Right. So last night they had a hiccup with their bullpen. They need to hit. But here's the thing about Minnesota, Kip. I'll tell you right now, they're not going anywhere. And Rocco Baldelli, somehow, some way, he figures out a way to get these guys to play and get and stay in these races. And I mean, if you would have asked a month ago, we would have said, "Oh, Cleveland's got this division by they'll have it clinched by the middle of September." Well, guess what? Minnesota starts creeping. And all of a sudden, Cleveland's going, who's that in our rearview mirror? Oh, it's the Twins again. Oh, boy. So Stephen Vogt, a rookie manager, but here come the Twins, and don't bet against them because they find a way somehow, some way.
They do. Rocco's awesome.
Yeah, but the Guardians didn't get great length out of their starting pitching in the first half. I got to look at some of the numbers because it's not like they're relying on just 1 or 2 guys. There's some depth there, but I got to look at appearance numbers to see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have to chill a little bit on some of their relievers.
They got a lot of young.
Smith looked awesome all year, but yesterday he didn't have it.
They got a lot of young guys too in the bullpen. Kip knows. They got a lot of young guys in that Cleveland bullpen.
And here's another frustrating part, and I'll speak on behalf of Cleveland fans too. That's the frustrating part of a team, small market, where you don't always go out and make that high impact, the sexy move at the deadline. And a lot of times Cleveland hasn't done it. A few times they've done it, it worked, whether it was when I was there with Andrew Miller and some stuff like that, but most times they don't. And it's not just for your run in the playoffs. A lot of times you need to make that move to hold off who's coming after you in the standings too. So I know Lane Thomas and Cobb, I think, is the two moves that they made. And I'm sure fans and even maybe some players on the team would have liked to see maybe one or two more, or a bigger one maybe, because like you said, like AJ said, Minnesota's coming and you got to hold them off.
We're all about the AL Central early on here, so this is a national show. We cover all teams, and that includes swinging back to the Chicago White Sox. So up next, the great Ozzie Guillen matched up with Kip and AJ to do a little therapy session. Get ready for this one. Ozzie, prepare yourself. We'll be right back. 2-minute break.
Hey, Cam, he won the Cy Young last year. I don't know if you know that or not. And he went to the offseason and didn't sign till like the end of spring training. So I got to ask him, like, what was that like? What was it like? Was it harder than you thought? Because I know you're a Boris guy and you're in Camp Boris and, you're throwing to hitters and you're doing this and doing that. But it's not a big league mound with big league guys. Like, was it harder than you thought to not go to spring training?
Well, I knew it was going to be hard. When spring training started up, I was kind of shocked. I was like, how was the team not come after me to get me on the team for something that I thought was fair for my worth? And then going through it, it's like towards the end of spring, I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, it just blew my mind. I was like, I'm still out here, a free agent. You got big league teams that I know could use a pitcher like myself, and I'm still out here. And the offers, I mean, that was crazy. I just no offers, like nothing good, nothing even worth talking about. And then when the Giants came after me, I was pretty pumped. And then I started getting into it. We started spring, and I was like, man, I thought I was in like good shape, ready to go. And then I throw my first bullpen out there, and I'm like, yep, it feel like the first day of spring. Like, I felt bad. I was like, I threw 4 innings against hitters. Probably like 4 or 5 days before I signed, and I was like, oh, the ball's coming out nice. Like, I feel good. Curveball, everything looks good. I get to camp. I throw my first bullpen. And I haven't been sore. Like, I was never sore. But then when you get to camp, it's like a whole different intensity. And then the first bullpen, I throw a pretty long bullpen with good intensity, and I'm sore. And I'm like, oh, wow, I ain't felt this. And then just getting going as quickly as I did, getting right into the season, facing big league hitters for the first time in a real game in the big leagues. I was like, man, I remember going out there, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it today, but we got to find a way. And no, it was way tougher than I thought.
Okay, quick history lesson. If you're a very young White Sox fan, like you're on
Hey,
7, 8,
hold on.
9.
Tell Fat Boy to close that door. Tell Fat Boy to close the door.
If you're a really young White Sox fan, I just want to introduce the royalty here. Ozzie Guillen was the 2005 manager of the World Series winning Chicago White Sox, and right above him on the screen was the star catcher. Kip and me are here for the ride too. So, Ozzie, great to have you on. When people see you the last few weeks and they say, how are you doing? What do you say?
Well, they love my golf game. got better. I can take that and be a grandfather. It's kind of hard because even I don't want to. I'm a White Sox guy. I got here when '85. The uniform I always wearing. The team I root for the most. I went through a lot of great situation and also bad situation with them. I lost a lot of games as a player, lost a lot of games as a manager, but it's kind of sad because you got to see them every day, and the question you ask yourself is, what is this? What's going on? What uh, you cannot point finger to anyone because somebody's up there. I check the lineup out, see how many at bats those guys have in their careers. They have, they still have. I don't want to say they have an MVP type of players. I don't think RBIs, batting titles, all those type of players. But I think they still have 6 to 7 players. They play in the big league before, and they did it before. You know how you have Benintendi, Vaughn, uh, Pantera. Well, they used to have Jimenez. I mean, I think they still have a good enough lineup at least to compete, and they don't. They don't. I think it seems like every at bat is the same way. Obviously, when you are losing that many games, you're going to blame because they lost a lot of games from the bullpen. It's not that about it. I think the starting rotation has been pretty solid, pretty okay. I would say that. They trade fitted, and then the crochet situation. They're in different shape. But when you point those guys and the bullpen because they lost like 40 games, something like that. They were the lead. But most of the league was one-run lead. They know they couldn't make any mistake. Somebody on the field couldn't make any errors, and that's it. That's the situation they have. One day they have Kopech closing, the next day is in the 7. They don't have really one guy hot out of the bullpen all year, and it's have been very very tough situation for them all around. It's just not that they make big errors. They not play fundamental baseball. There's so many. Well, that's the reason they are what they are right now. Just it's so many reasons that's why they are what they are right now.
All right, so I got 3 questions and no cussing, okay? Because you can't cuss anymore at me. You used to cuss at me a lot, but pretend you're sitting on NBC Sports with Garfinkel and you can't cuss at me, all right? So here we go. 1, how would you change it if you were the manager? 2, why don't you just come out and say you want to be the manager? Because I know you want to be the manager. Everybody knows you want to be the manager, but you keep saying that. And then 3, hold on, let me finish. 3, when I become the manager, why are you going to burn the stadium down, and are you going to be my bench coach?
You know what? I tell you what. I don't know who was the crazy guy come up with the idea saying AJ want to manage. I don't think you want to manage your body. I think you have a great life. I think
look at your beard. Look at your beard. Yours is all gray. Mine's still colored.
I do enjoy your life right now. It's not easy to be a manager. A lot of people think, oh, it's right now. Konerko come to town. Konerko, he should be the next manager. Burley come like a month ago. Burley should be the. Everybody go to former player for the White Sox want to be the manager. But if I want to be the manager, I don't know. I'm not because the team they are what they are. I went through the meeting with them, right before they signed Pedro, and I failed. You can put it that way. I fail, or I not convince them. What I don't have enough conversation with them to convince them I was the guy. Since that day, my managing brains went out. I throw it away. I say, if I can manage this game, then when I find out who was the manager, I even know we was the manager when they named him. I start knowing the manager right now. I said, wow, I thought it was somebody else. The manager, it wasn't me, it was somebody else. And then Pedro sort of thing I respect because they talk about Pedro in the past. It was unbelievable, great. I said, wow, that's good. It's a good man, good manager, good baseball guy, and all the stuff. And then I just like, you know what? I love what I'm doing. I really love what I'm doing. I got my time with my grandkids. I pick my day off. I like the people around me, NBC Sport, everybody, not just the people you see in camera, people behind the cameras, outstanding people. And another one is just like, is I want to manage it. I'm managing. The reason I'm managing Venezuela is I feel is a lot of people think I was managing Venezuela looking for a job, not because I did it before and it's nothing happened. Now, when I'm managing Venezuela, a lot of my family was against that. Then we talk. We have a long talk. Then we have like a couple of days to say yes or no because they wasn't desperate for a manager. Then I say yes. Well, the song when I got to Venezuela, I even know there was last place, like 10 guys, like 5, 6, 7 games out of the playoff, and thank God everything turned around. They play well, they pitch well, and we won in Venezuela. That giving me the opportunity to see if I really want to be back to manage it. I want to deal with that again. I want to be on the field. I want to be with a uniform. Yes. Then I said, well, you know what? I can enjoy it a little bit. Obviously, you enjoy when you win the Korean Series, when you win the championship up there. My team, that's a team I grew up with. They've been winning like 40 years, something like that. Then they back and the last time they're winning, I still playing the last time they win. Only my second son, that's the year is born. So, I mean, it's been a long time. Then the Korean Series, the Venezuela no inning in 20 something years, and we did it. That's why kind of give me the taste of managing again, but not really. I think a lot of people. The hardest thing on my job right now, when I got to talk about Pedro. By the way, if you look on my show, the shows we have, I never talk about Pedro X and O. Never. Like why you bring this picture, why you should doing this, why did I mean so many things happen in the games every day. I never second guess him as a manager. Never did. I know he don't have a great team, but the only thing go through me, it was what he say. You know what I mean? We're watching the game every day. What he say? Oh, we got to clean it up. We got to get better. We got a bunch of kids. Everything I say, I disagree with him. I don't like it. I don't like the way he talked to the media after the game or to the fans after the game. I disagree with him. That not because I disagree with him, it's not right. I might be wrong, but most of the time it's something I think he take care of the ball club the way it should be taken care. I grew up in different mentality. I grew up a different way to treat my players, but I think they're not playing hard enough, good enough for him the way they should. They not it seem like everybody. I don't want to say it's Pedro's fault they're not hitting. I don't want to say it's Pedro's fault they're not pitching, but the reaction of or the feedback or what we hear every day from Pedro, I disagree with Pedro 1,000%. I don't care if it's 1,000% because most of the time he says something we want to hear or something we got you protecting somebody but he forgot one thing you have to do is make sure those guys go out there and play the way they should play. Oh, we play hard. Major League Baseball players have to play hard. They can pay a lot of money to play hard. It's a different thing to play hard and play good. If you get bit, they beat you. Playing good, hey, you tip your hand, move on. Let's go to the next day. But when you get the game away from so many different ways, I even know one day walk off and run, next day arrow by somebody, next day they throw to the wrong bases, they don't move the guy over. There's so many different little things they're not doing it. That's the reason they are what they are. I don't want to blame Pedro. They are what they are right for because that I don't. But always, when the team not playing good, the manager's gonna be the guy. Got to talk about it. You know what I mean? Why the manager's always going to pay the price? Why? Because it had been like that, and I think science baseball is. You know what I mean? Surprise me. They even move anybody yet. They're surprised not me. It surprised everybody. And Pedro got a very tough job, man. Very tough job because the team don't respond to him. Their team is not what you have. You know, you talk about 101 game from last night on the 500 in your career. They have a 21 losing streak, 14 first and 21 later. If they know how to put it together, like they win those 10, they're still last place. They're still one of the worst record in the game. And
We lose him.
Uh-oh.
He might be still talking.
We might unfreeze. We might unfreeze. We were going through it right now. That is a true manager therapy session right there. Former manager, whatever you want to call it. You're getting.
I wanted Kip's next question to get through, man. How would he fix it?
Yeah.
Like, what would he say? Because
I was waiting 4 minutes to get in to ask him, but
I want to. Here's my thing that I wanted to, that he used to always say, and this is a great. Ozzie had some great lines, but here's one of them that he said. He's like, and he was talking about playing hard and this and that. He's like, good players play, bad players hustle. He's like, good players just play, they know how to play. And he's like, when you're talking about, oh, this guy really hustles, he's like, he wasn't very good, because he's like, they had to hustle because that was the only thing they could say about him. Like, if you're just a good player, you just play the game right and you know when to do things. He's like, but if you're bad, you're like, oh, look at him fake dive into first and all this stuff. He's like, that was one. And then the other quote that he always uses all the time was,
time out. Damn it, people always said I hustled.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was in a different way. And then the other thing he'd always say is good teams win and bad teams have meetings. And I agree with that 1,000,000%. If you're winning, you ain't having no meetings. You're just playing.
You could tell he really is personally invested into the team. AJ is too a little bit. I the same way if you ask me maybe about the Cleveland organization, you might get it too. But so I really do like and respect seeing how he's on the outside looking in, but it means something to him. He doesn't like having this organization look like this right now, and I respect that a lot. And I really, AJ hinted on it, I really do respect the quote where it's just like, this guy plays hard. Big leaguers are paid to play hard. You should be playing hard every single night, every single game. That's how the game should be played. So I do agree with him in that sense.
Let's do this. We're going to try to get Ozzie right back on here. We got to get the Wi-Fi in check.
He's back. He's waiting for us.
Okay, perfect. We'll be right back. Then we'll bring Ozzie back with us. So stick around for one quick sec, FT fam, and then part 2 of Ozzie Fest.
Let him pitch. How do we know he's going to get hurt? Let him pitch. You don't know he's going to get hurt. Just see what happens. I don't understand why they've already done all this. Like, let's keep his workload light in the beginning. Remember his first few starts, he was throwing like 1 inning, 2 innings, 3 innings. Oh, his first big league start, he went like, 4 innings? Because we're like, oh, no, too many innings. How do you know he's going to get hurt? This wasn't a guy that pitched a ton. He was a catcher, right? And now he's been converted. He's worked his tail off to get to a point. The Pirates are in the playoff race. Let the guy pitch. And every 5th day that he pitches in Pittsburgh, maybe give him some days off, bounce him back a little bit here and there. But, man, every time this guy pitches, it's an event. So let the guy pitch.
I'm with you, AJ. I mean, the energy that he's created, the buzz that he's created in that city. I go back to when Ellie De La Cruz came up a year ago with the Cincinnati Reds, and all of a sudden the attendance was through the roof. The fan base started to have a belief in what this organization was building. Well, you're seeing the same exact thing in Pittsburgh with Paul Skeens. One thing we heard prior to him getting drafted is how much of a competitor he was, how he pushed his teammates, how he had a high expectation for what it is to have good work ethic. And you're seeing this you rub off on everybody around him. There's a belief, there's a confidence around that team, especially when he's on the bump. Guys behind him believe that we're going to win when he's out there on the mound. So why would you do anything to disrupt that? I like what AJ said. If anything, you find a day in the schedule where it might be lining up close to an off day. Maybe you allow him to skip a start or 2 moving down the stretch. But what you've created right now, the buzz, the belief, you went out and made some really nice moves. Those pieces have already came in right away and started to help you out. Brian De La Cruz, I love that move. I love what they've done. Quiet, small moves, but right now I don't think you do anything to disrupt the energy, the positivity that they've created, and the belief that they've created in that city. I think you have to keep it going.
There we go. We got him back. Back with Ozzie Guillen. Kip, right to you so you can get a question in there for Ozzie.
Well, side question first. How'd you shoot yesterday?
My team was like, what, 13 under?
I think
it wasn't for me. We was like 30 over.
Is Bobby Jenks a good golfer? Apparently they were 20 under and they won it. Who was in his group?
Bobby, that too. You know what? I played with him 2 times this summer. I just finished up playing with Freddie Garcia a few minutes ago. Teeing off. When I see him teeing off, like, oh my God, he's a big man.
Yeah.
And like, I want to see you short game. Whack. I think one of the best golfer, not serious about it, is that kid. A lot of good golfer, obviously, they're serious about it. They go there and play every day, taking serious. This kid, it was amazing. He really impressed me playing golf. He was fun to play with. He just like, hit it, and we have fun. But twice I played with him, he's a pretty good one.
I like it. Well, I wanted to get back to the conversation we were having before, and I wanted to kind of key in on one specific part where we were asking you what exactly you would change or do. Let's say if you were the manager of this losing streak right now, would you approach players specifically? Would you be doing this mandatory batting practice and stuff like that? Would you be what goes through your head as a manager right now, and how would you have handled this or would handle this right now?
First of all, wake him up.
Yeah.
Wake him up and say, we play hard. Oh, really? Yeah, of course you have to play hard. You can pay a lot of money to play a game. Just play good. Take care of each other. Every at-bat count. Every at-bat. I always say, get a base hit in the big leagues is hard. Very hard. But good at-bats in the big league level is easy. They don't have that. They don't have that. Believe in each other. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't try to do much. You're a punching duty. Continue to do that. Don't try hit a home run. Don't try over swing. If you throw 98, stay with 98. Don't try to a slider when you slide is not a strike. Stay together. That's the hardest thing to do when the players going through this. Very, 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 very tough to stay together and we love each other. That we love each other. We take care of each other. Our clubhouse is great. They're a bunch of crap. Nope. No lie. I've been great clubhouse when they're winning. I've been great clubhouse where I thought it was great clubhouse and we're losing. It's not. It's a manager. It's a player. I don't think we get along too much with to each other. And we talk about the manager all the time. We talk about the bench coach. It's a player. We talk about our hitting coach is not good. What's wrong with my pitcher? Pitching coach not helping this guy. I did it. I did as a player. I criticized my manager. Oh my God, more than anybody. I go back in the training room and just killed that guy. That's why when I have the job, I say, hey, you have anything to say about me managing? Come to me. Don't go back in the training room hiding and say stuff about me. Be a man, face me, and want something you don't like it, just tell me. I might learn from that. But I think right now, it's just every game, just, you lose 100 games. Don't worry about lose 101. Just try to win one game, and hopefully that game continue to take you over to the winning. No, not a winning streak.
Yeah.
To a winning thought, to positive thing. Because winning streak, I don't think the White Sox are going to have more than 3-game winning streak the way they're playing right now. They might win one game, then they might lose the next 2. They might win it. It's how you play. If you compete, You know what I mean? If you compete, if you get beat, hey, that's part of the game. It's part of the game. You compete against the big league. But it seemed like everybody come in town, like say, hey, bro, we 5 games out of being the pennant race. We're facing the White Sox. There we go. Boom. If you talk about if Kansas City don't face the White Sox, Kansas City be 500 team, maybe 500 team, maybe. And yet, they abuse them. Same way with Minnesota. It's Minnesota. They know how the years they have against the White Sox. They only play good against the Guardians. They compete against the Guardians. But right now, they went through to the trade deadline. They trade a couple guys. The first thing you say is the manager says, listen, we have what we have. I still believe you guys can compete. I still believe in you guys can do what you're supposed to do. The reason they trade those guys because we play like crap all year long. If we play good baseball, those guys still with us. But looking, the reason it's your fault, it's our fault. We trade those guys, including myself as a manager. Then, hey, let's continue to play. I expect everybody to play the game right now. But see, I don't see anybody get upset. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's just so funny because I'm managing. I'm playing. I do something stupid. I do something, come up with anything to make sure those guys come alive. Another day, something I saw in the ballpark. That's the first thing I talk about the ball club like that. Who he don't run? Benintendi, I think. I don't know for sure. He don't run, and they put themselves down by 2 runs. And nobody in the dugout. They show. And by the way, I told the guy, can you put that in slow motion in the show? I don't have too much in the show. They put whatever they want and I talk about it. Then all of a sudden, nobody even said nothing. They checked their hands like, oh, good job. And I went off. Why? I said, my God, first time you hit a home run to put the game back and you even excited about it. You even like you show some emotions. And I think right now, believe me, leadership is being missing. Not only White Sox. I think baseball leadership. When you have a leader or somebody vocal, right now, he's bullying me or don't like me or me or he hate me. So many things about it. When you try to make the best out of every player. And right now, nowadays, if you're a manager, you have to be careful what you say. If somebody get upset, if you hurt somebody's feeling, so many things is behind the scene. They have to know. But in the end of the day, the manager, the one going to get fired. And the player going to say this, oh my God, he was a great guy. It was great to play for him. I love him to death. And that happened to Robin, Renteria. Who else was there? And Tony La Russa, and now Pedro. Oh, we love that guy. Yeah, but you not play good for them. Yeah. You love that guy. You go there and fight for that man. And that's why right now, it's a funny thing. My kids ask me the same question. I say, you think you are the manager, you will have this streak going? I say, I might be. Yes, I might be. But if I'm miserable, I will make everybody miserable. It's not, oh, really? We got to work. No, we got to work harder. Oh, we know got to work enough to see if we can change something. But I'm not going to eat that by myself, like sit in my house thinking about, oh my God, I might get fired tomorrow. Oh my God, look at the way we play. Oh my God, we're going to have be in the record books. No, if I go down, everybody had to go down together. And we do something about it to take care of that business.
Okay, so hold up. I got a couple things here because
I got a question for you too later.
Okay, that's fine. You can ask me.
How the hell do you think you're going to be a good manager?
I never said that. I never said that.
Paper.
I never said that. That was not what I said. No one's ever asked me. No one's ever asked me that question. I've never said that. People have said that, but I've never said anything about managing nobody.
They asked me about it. They asked me about it. AJ, you think he'd be a good manager? My thing is, wow, he played good for good managers in the past.
I know.
He's a
Freddie
baseball
Gonzalez, Ron Washington, Felipe Alou, Tom Kelly, Tom Cooper, Don
play
Cooper.
for everybody. And also, and besides that, I say it should be good. Why he play for so many good managers? Play with a bad manager, you learn from the bad ones. and you learn from the good ones. You know, just go to learn, take the best one about it. Then
Hey,
ask me
nobody
about
spent more.
it. I think AJ. I think AJ is good what it is right now. I don't think he want to be in this thing right
Hey,
now.
nobody-
No.
Nobody spent more time in the manager's office than me, okay? So I know all about the manager's office, whether
By
good
the
or
way,
bad.
by the way, you never sit in front. No, maybe a couple. No, I tell you right in your face what I need to
No,
tell
I
you.
know, I know. Listen, that's what I was going to say. So here's a couple things. One, yeah, your manager's office, your door was open, but when you came in there, you expected to get cussed out and you had to leave. So there was no point in going in there because you just yell at us anyway. So there was no point to doing that. But I agree with what you're saying and how you're, what your tone is with the White Sox. And yeah, would there be a but let's be honest, Ozzie, if it was you, you'd be calling out players, you'd be calling out coaches, you'd be throwing stuff in the club. Because I've seen you do all this stuff.
Yes.
So don't say like, oh, I wouldn't be doing.
No.
Crap!
No,
you'd be throwing all
no.
kinds of junk.
No, baseball changed. Before that, I looking for it. That's why I call Chicago media weak media. They're weak. Hi, what do you think about this guy? They don't say, okay, what happened here? What happened there? No, it's like sometimes when they ask me about it, I say, wait a minute. Yeah, they don't play right. By the way, I remember I said a couple of days ago, we win the game in Tampa. I remember that. And we struck out 15 times. But we win the game. And I went off on you guys like crazy. I went off like, I don't remember, it's Sunday day. We struck out 14 times Friday, 13 times Saturday, and 15 times Sunday. We win 2 out of 3 games. And I went nuts. And people like thought I was crazy. I said, well, I don't think they play. I don't think they get a bad they should get. I know my players. They're better than that. But you can protect somebody to a point. Okay, yes, you do. You can protect somebody at a point. I see guys another day, Jimenez hit the ball in the gap. It slowed down. Then try with the game on the line, down by 1 run in the ninth. He got thrown out in second base. Nobody say anything. Nobody do anything. And I expect somebody asking and say, what you think about the effort about Jimenez? Nobody did. I say about the effort about Jimenez. Then, I mean, so many things. Why you put this guy in that situation? No, it's my play. You got to go down. You know why? Because you can ask Kenny Williams. You can ask Jay Reisner how much I was protecting my players. And I told you guys right in your face, I'm protecting you. I go down with you guys, and you guys going down with me. That's the way we're going to play. That's the way we should be playing. That's the way I see when he play. I'll be breaking TV. Then another day I say, they asked me that question. I think Chuck, I say, Chuck, I'll be miserable. So do my players. And right now I'll be at the alcoholic. I'll be calling my son, hey, where you guys? I need to go to rehab because I'll be drunk all day. And I know the media I know I had to talk about what you see. You cannot, in baseball now, or sport or in life, you cannot cover the sun with one finger. Everybody know what's going on. Everybody know whatever stay in the cloud. That was 1960s, 70s, 80s. Now everybody know what's going on. Everyone. Then yes, I will be crazy. I will make my place miserable, very miserable. Hey, what you remember that day we're supposed to bunt in Toronto, and we missed 3 bunts. When we come back to Chicago, early bunting, everybody, early bunting. How you want to miss bunt? Early bunting. I don't care if you like it or not, but that's the way it was. It's just like, God, we're going to work on something. Yeah, we're going to work on something. That's what we're going to work about it. And now I don't see that. And maybe my time is over. Maybe people can deal with that. But listen, I'm behind the White Sox last 5 years, 6 years, watching every day. They might need a manager like that. They might need somebody go there and go crazy and break all the TVs and once in a while just call people up. They might need it. They might not, but they might need something. They're soft, nice guys and stuff. People take advantage of you. And you've seen it. I've seen it. The thing I watch every day for the last 5 years, I've seen it that. And I think manager got to be, it's not a good job. Because what you do, you're winning, you do the best. Oh my God, we love you. We love that man. If you're losing, I don't care how good a guy you are. I don't care what you did for them and their family. Nothing. You bad and you got to deal with it. You get fired. Those guys still in the game, and you just want try to look for a job somewhere else, and they're still playing. That's what it is.
Hold on, I gotta stop you because let me say this. Yeah, we did that. We bunted. We did all that crap. But let me explain something to you. Do you remember the time when you were playing and I don't know who went up to you. It might have been Tommy or Konerko or Jermaine Dye, one of your good players. And they said, hey, we want to hit early tomorrow. And you said, I'm not making my coaches hit early because you guys suck in the game. So I'm not making my coaches go early to watch you guys suck in extra VP too.
That's 100% right. You know why?
So we going to work hard, or are we going to just say, no, we got
no, wait a minute. No. Okay, let me ask you a question. You got 350 at bat. Oh, we're going to need extra hitting. 350 at bat?
Hey.
Early hitting.
You figured it out.
How about this one? Early hitting in September. What? We had 700 at bat and we still early hitting? No, my coach is not going to come here at 1 o'clock because you guys want to sweat. That's it. If you guys don't want to sweat, yeah, or you want to hit extra. But thank God I have Greg Walker. It was my hitting coach. Workaholic. And sometimes a lot of time they ask for the ballpark when we're going to hit early in the row. And I told Eddie Cashin, hey, tell them you can find it. They have something early. Say no. Just because Greg Walker want to hit early every single day. I say, hey, if Greg Walker want to hit you guys early, good. I ain't going to show up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock to see guys have the same at bat and same swing day in and day out. I say, if you early in the season, yeah, because maybe you're not ready. I can take that. But you guys going to have a extra hitting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the game's at 7, and to see the same stuff. No, you guys good enough to make that excuse. I think you guys was a great, tremendous teammates, tremendous players, tremendous gamers to waste our time sweating, have the coaches out there doing nothing, checking ball for you guys.
There you go. Well, Ozzie, hopefully next time we chat,
I wonder I couldn't keep playing. If I had Ozzie as manager, you would never let me hit early.
Yeah,
it's a funny thing about it. Like, we work hard. Every day I hear that from players. We work hard. I said, hard what? What? To take extra hitting? To take extra ground balls? Why you guys do different working? What's work hard me? Work hard me, sit down. You know what I hate when people they miss a bat, fly ball somewhere, and they go to the bench and look at an iPad to see what's wrong with them. I said, what is this? By the way, AJ was with me. It's one game, we sucked for a little while. We're terrible. And everybody, they hit and they go inside to the video room. Hit video room. Then I sit there, I don't see nobody on the bench, and I went crazy. I went to the video room and told the guys, listen, if I see this video room open one more time, you 4 guys go get fired. And you want to try me? Let any of the players get into the video room and watch a game from here. That's it. No video room for like 3 weeks. That thing was locked. The soon the game start, everybody's asset. The soon the game's over, you open it up. Watching video. Like, wait a minute. You just strike out. You don't know how you strike out. You want to see yourself again strike out? Oh, idiot. You can say that to a manager never played the game. The last thing I want to see is I fly out with minus second and third. I say, okay, can I see my swing again? Oh, look at what I did wrong. What is that?
See, at the very least, you got to throw that out there and get these guys, like you said, excited, get a good laugh, the whole deal. We got to run because Tarik Skubal, who's on a much better ball club, is waiting to chat with us. We're talking to the Cy Young contender. But, Ozzie, let's do this. We'll chat once they win a game. So hopefully it's not next year, but hopefully it's, pretty soon, okay?
Well, can you please? We forgot how we're going to talk after the game if they win the game. We got to get a script because we didn't say that a winning edition of the post-game show.
They're going to give out some huge trophy or something like that. Yeah, we'll be watching the post-game show. You're crushing it on there. Thank you, Ozzie. We appreciate you.
Thank you,
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Make sure you watch pre and post. White Sox pre and post has been lit during this time period. Tarik Skubal coming back next.
Sometimes you just can't get him. You just can't get him to stop.
That was less a chat, more of a TED talk. Or he's you put that start button, he's going.
And he remembers stuff too, man. He remembers a lot of stuff from when we played. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I remember that. Listen, I wasn't ever a big video guy, but I remember that he went in there and was like, "If y'all go in here, I promise you, I will break." And at the time, the White Sox had one of the best video systems in in the league. He's like, I'll break every computer, I'll break every screen, I'll lock the door, and nobody can get in here ever. Because like Carlos Quentin used to get out and he'd run right in there, right? And so then other guys started following him in there.
Everybody does that now.
He's like, no.
I got to give him credit. I mean, even on the Grifol part about post-game, I mean, it's a tough post-game, but I got to say, you need to come up with something else, not only to the team, but to the media and to the fans. Like, you are the ambassador. You can't say they're doing their best every day, they're hustling, they're working hard. And then I know there was the comment the other day, what was it, after one of the games, talking about the cutoff man, and Chuck on the post-game show was really good. He's like, yo, we're in August. You've lost $1 billion in a row. Talking about one cutoff man situation issue in a game, I feel like
save it.
That's not the direction here.
Who's worse on the post game? Who takes him harder? Chuck, Garfine, or Ozzie when they lose? Like Chuck is like, sometimes Chuck comes on and he looks like he's gonna cry because he just can't believe it. And then Ozzie is like, Ozzie's Ozzie, and he is just kind of, not that he looks like he's gonna cry, but he just has that look like he's gonna be good tonight.
Yeah, I would say Ozzie just because he's got the enthusiasm factor in a different way. I wouldn't even call it the enthusiasm factor. It's the smash TVs and computers factor that he was talking about. Oh. Anyway, we'll get back on track. So Tarik Skubal is going to join us in a matter of seconds. So if you have any questions for Tarik, we're excited to have him back on. And we will be right back on FT real quick. That was good. Hey, let's bring on Tarik Skubal from the Detroit Tigers and start off in a fun way. How was that, Tarik? Good to see you. And how was that little exchange with Salvia? I love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was – I finally got him out the third time. If you looked at the exit velos from the first two at-bats, though, they weren't in my favor. So, yeah, I think that was cool. I mean, obviously, I got to talk with him a little bit in Texas, and that was pretty special. So, yeah, that was a cool moment for me.
What did he tell you in Texas?
I mean, we were just like, I just introduced myself to him, and he said hello and kind of congratulated me, and then told me, that I was good. And I was like, well, if you think I'm good, dude, you got like a 1,400 OPS off me in your career. So what's that say about you? But yeah, that stuff's pretty cool to me.
Love that. Hey, question for you, because we haven't had you on since the trade deadline. What were your feelings during that time period? Internally and externally, right? Because internally, there's probably a conversation or two behind the scenes. And Scott Harris, who runs the front office there, said there really wasn't anything close. He's just doing his job like any GM would do. But where were you coming from now that it has passed and you're still with the ball club, of course?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff is, I don't know how true much of it was. Me being the, main topic with all that stuff, I don't really know how much merit that holds. I guess we'll find out over when all that stuff comes out. I feel like a year later it all comes out, so we'll find out then. But yeah, I mean, I have no control on it, so it is what it is, and that's kind of what I think about. I think the trade deadline stuff is, you can make it stressful as a player if you're really worried about where you're going or how things are going to end up. So I try to just focus on taking the mound and being me out there.
Did they call you in and say anything did they even talk to you about it? Were they like, hey, these rumors aren't true? Or because like a lot of teams will call in their star player, their star pitcher and say, hey, listen, you're hearing things, but this is not true. Because now after the deadline, we're hearing like nothing was ever closed. So did they at least give you the courtesy to call you in and say, hey, man, hey, Tarik, this is not true?
Yeah, I mean, AJ came and talked to me and said, hey, if I hear anything, I'll let you know. But as far as what's going on right now, is all basically rumors, is what it was. There wasn't really a ton of facts to any of it. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of a compliment as a player. If you're linked in all these trade, rumors, it means that teams want you. So there is some sort of positive you can kind of take out of that.
Hey, you did lose your teammate, Jack Flaherty. He's going to a good spot in LA, competing and also getting to play back home-ish, right? Close enough to home. So how tough was that for you to lose, a teammate who hadn't been with you for a long time, but, you two were kind of thriving off each other's intensity and competitiveness. And also, I know you can mix this in. Jack, I've covered him for a long enough time. He pays attention to the media. He sees that there was another trade on the table, and that was even confirmed by your front office man. And the Yanks were like, nah, we don't like the medical enough. And he's about to show the world what's going on. He already did this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, obviously losing Jack, you don't want to be on the team that's trading away players. You want to be on the team that's trading for players. And Jack being the best, starter available at the deadline, it obviously sucks losing that caliber player, especially, when you're in the rotation with them. And, if I go game one, he goes game two, I like our odds of winning those games. And it doesn't matter who we're playing. So losing him is tough. Obviously the competitor that he is, I loved getting to know him. He was a great dude, great teammate. Took care of everybody on the team, team dinners, all that stuff, took care of us. I got a ton of respect for him, and I'm excited to see what he does, in LA. And as if he's not crazy enough on start days, I don't think he needs any more, fuel to add to his fire. So, I think he'll channel all that stuff in the right way and use it to his advantage.
Well, I'm glad this is our first way of talking, because if I was still playing in that division, our conversation would be similar to probably what Selvey said too to you. So I'm happy about that. But it's been a blast watching you kind of turn into quite literally one of the best pitchers in the league, and definitely one of the best in the AL. And your ascension's been a rapid one. Trying to see how I want to word this. What would you credit the most to your success for this year, to putting it all together, longevity and the starts that you've been having? What's been working for you the most? Have you made any changes, or what's really clicking that you're using now that you weren't before?
I think I don't really want to say it's one thing. I think it's kind of a group of things. I think when I came back from flexor surgery, the organization, training, weight room, all the pitching staff, AJ, they instilled a ton of confidence in me. And then obviously, the adjustments I made, little small tweaks to my mechanics, changing my routine, really hammering out what I'm doing every fifth, not just what I'm doing on my start day, the 4 days in between, staying consistent in that. And then 3, probably, being healthy. I think that something was going on with my arm, probably a lot more than I, wanted to believe. So having that surgery wasn't the end. Obviously, you don't want to have surgery and get hurt, but having that surgery wasn't the end of the world. It kind of gave me, a fresh mind, fresh body, to where I can just go out there and play. And I'm healthy now. I truly am healthy. And I think that matters a ton, especially if, you can kind of pitch through things, or you get, banged up here and there. You don't recover as well based on travel, whatever. Right. But, I feel like my body's done a pretty good job of responding. And I feel really good every fifth day. And that's what it's all about.
That's important. Don't listen to Shane Wallen too much. He's just going to have you do chest.
No, that's what I tell him every day. I see him, I'm like, hey, don't be afraid to mix in a leg day, dude. But he's got 80 grade pecs. Like, they're 80 grade. That's a special body. But yeah, he's been huge. He's been huge for me, just switching up my routine and when I lift, and how I'm lifting. I trust all those guys. I trust the training room. They've got my best interests, and I think that goes a long way.
Back, your next start is in Seattle, where you went to college at Seattle University, which, I'll be quite honest, I'd never heard of it until I looked at your bio.
Powerhouse.
Yeah. But are you going to have family and friends in Seattle? Like, are you going to host like the entire baseball program and say, hey guys, this is what it's like if you get to the next level?
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that. I've been in contact with the head coach that was there when I was there. Try and get as many guys down there. I know he's coming to the game tonight. We'll see how many turn out the next day. I've texted him. I'm actually waiting for a text back. just like, hey, if we got any guys, I know summer ball or whatever they're doing right now, and I know they're not in school, so. But if anyone's in the area, I'd love to have them out to the game and, obviously coordinate that stuff and get them all seated in kind of the same section. And I think that'd be pretty special. I think I remember going to games when I was in college and, I watched Edwin Diaz close out a game and I mean, that was the most electric thing I've ever seen. So it's something that I really remember. And then obviously, I watched Paxton throw and he was kind of my pitching coach at the time, told me that, hey, this is who you can be. So I watched him throw, and I studied him, and then obviously I threw against him when he was in LA right before the All-Star break, so that was pretty special. But yeah, I'm going to try and do as much as I can to kind of give back to the program and get him out to a couple games, and because obviously that's the goal, right? When you're playing college baseball.
Hey, Tarik, we haven't had you on since the All-Star break, so how cool was that? The All-Star experience. And I thought about this and it just came back to me. I was like, oh, we got to ask Tarik about this. They had the messed up earpiece or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, Tarik's going to be great. I remember a few years ago, who was it? Manoah was really good when he was talking to us. And I was like, this is you. But it sounded like not frustration, but you're like, all right, I got to pitch. I can't be like, hey, can we fix this right now?
Well, yeah, so that was going to be cool because I was supposed to be able to talk to Adley too. So pregame, Adley walks up and he's like, hey, what do you throw? I was like, hey, we don't even need to worry about it because I'm going to just tell you what I throw, and you can just tell me what pitches come in. And I think that's going to be pretty cool. And then we get out there and he's like, hey, can you hear me? I'm like, dude, I can't hear anything except for like loud static. Like it was like loud too. I'm like, guys, I couldn't even hear the environment. It was just like, it was almost disorienting a little bit. But yeah, that was pretty fun. I was excited for it. I thought that'd be pretty cool. And, for fans or whatever to get a little insight, as to who I am on the mound or what I'm trying to do. But with also like the pitch clock thing, I'm not going to have a pitching change in the All-Star or have a meeting in the All-Star game. I'm going to get my work in and get out of there. That's kind of the goal is to get it on the mound and off the mound as fast as possible without giving up runs. So, but yeah, that was cool. Obviously a missed opportunity, but hopefully get to do that in the future.
Okay, so now I have more questions, but I had two, but now I have three. One, no, when you're at the All-Star game, forget that, dude. You want all the attention. So next time when you pitch in the All-Star game and you're the starter, you go out there and you're like, spotlight right here. Like you don't want to get out of there quick. Forget that, man. All your sponsors, everybody, all of Detroit was watching you, right? So like, and you're into Cy Young voting, bring it on. Spotlight me. Oh, call timeout. Be like, Adley, I can't hear. Wait, what? No, Adley, come on. No, oh, come on. Okay. So next time you pitch in the All-Star game, remember that, right? Now, do you always wear the Motor City uniforms at home? Because every time I swear there's a highlight of you, it's in the Motor City uniform.
It's every Friday home game. And it's been hot lately, so those black jerseys don't do us any favors. But yeah, every Friday home game, and then I think we wore them for a whole weekend because we went on kind of a little heater in them. I think we won like 4 games in a row, so we wore them until we lost. But every Friday home game we wear them, and it just so happens that I feel like I've been throwing a lot of those Friday home games.
Okay, and then last one for me. Do the starting pitchers still get to pick the uniforms and the music of the day? Because back in the day, you had like 3 uniforms, or separate tops, and the starting pitcher's like, oh, I always pitch in black. Now, Detroit only has the D and the Motor City. So if you went to him and said, hey, it's a Tuesday night, I'm Tarik Skubal, I got a chance to win the Cy Young, I went to the All-Star game, I want to wear the Motor City, I'm pretty sure that A.J. Hinch would say, you know what, Tarik, if you want to wear your underwear out there, we'll all wear our underwear. Let's go.
Yeah, if I really wanted to throw in them, I'm sure that we could make that happen. But yeah, we only have whites and then obviously the Motor City Connect ones. And then on the road, we only have grays. But I've heard maybe rumors of that changing. So that'd be pretty cool. Maybe a little road alternate. I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I also like just like our iconic, white Old English D uniforms. I think they're pretty clean. But yeah, I don't jersey stuff, music. I'm sure some guys care. I'm not one to kind of care too much about what the music's going on or that type of stuff. I kind of just focus my energy on what I'm playing. If I let too many things, I think that's when the superstitious stuff kind of comes into it, and I think that's literally like kind of a slippery slope in terms of how it can take a toll on you mentally. So I try to be I don't really care that much. I'll wear whatever, listen to whatever. Just not like screamo. We're not going to do screamo on any day I pitch. I can't stand that music. But anything else, I'm pretty good with.
Wait, what's screamo?
You know what screamo is, like when they're like literally screaming into the music. It's like rock screaming. It's like, dude, that's
Yeah.
not music.
Oh.
That's just
Screaming
that's
So
not,
like you're talking like death metal.
yeah, like death. Like that's not. We're not doing that. I
Okay.
can't stand listening to
That's
that
what
stuff.
Kip used to come up to hit to, so don't make fun of it.
That's fine. And 10-second intervals were fine.
No, it's
just
not
I
fine.
can't
Don't listen
3
to him.
minutes.
It's not fine. I did not come up to that. We're going to throw some rapid fire questions at you right now. We got some baseballism questions, and there's really no rhyme or reason, so I'm just going to hit you with a couple of them. What's the weirdest thing you've ever autographed?
Ooh, probably like a toddler's, like a baby's shirt. I think that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever autographed. I think that's pretty weird to me.
Do you collect any autographs? And if you do, what's your best part of your collection? What's your top-notch one?
Yeah, I think the All-Star game, I got my home jersey. Obviously, everyone signs, the American League side, but I sent over my like the white Old English D jersey to the NL side, and they all signed it for me, which I thought was pretty cool. I think that's going to probably be one of the coolest items, for me.
I love it. I love it. Song you sang on the bus as a rookie.
It's something by NSYNC. What's like their "Tell Me Why"? Is that the song? Is that the
Bye
name of
bye
the song?
bye.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. "Tell Me Why" or something like that by
No, Tell Me Why is Backstreet
NSYNC.
Tell
Boys.
me
isn't
why
it?
is Backstreet Boys,
Backstreet
dude.
Boys. That's what it is. That's what
Listen,
it is.
Oh,
Backstreet
you did
Boys.
as someone
Backstreet
from
Boys.
Orlando, you cannot get them confused. Okay,
No,
so now
I
on
apologize.
Twitter, you're going to get annihilated because they're going to be like, Tarik Skubal doesn't know the difference between Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys. That's who it was. Tell Me Why, Backstreet Boys. It was a
Favorite
good one.
road city?
What's up?
Favorite road city?
Ooh, this one's close. Seattle. We're in Seattle right now. This one's close. But I love going to Chicago too. I love going to Chicago.
That's there you go.
I like that. Okay, then I actually saw this question. I really like this one. A historical matchup you would like. So if you could face any player from the past or any maybe 1, 2, 3, pick a top of a lineup. Who would you want to face from the histories of baseball?
Ooh.
It could be present day too.
Yeah. That's a damn good question. I think you got to throw Barry Bonds. You got to throw Barry Bonds in there. I think.
No, you don't want that.
Test yourself.
You don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke, Tarik.
I'm not.
You don't want that smoke. I'm telling you, you don't want that smoke. Don't say it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I could throw a dream match, I mean, I would love to throw against Barry Bonds. I've never faced Mike Trout in the big leagues. I really want that.
Okay.
Not just to. I've never faced him. Obviously. Ken Griffey would be another one of those at bats. That swing is beautiful. I obviously don't want him to look good. I don't want to see the swing when I'm on the mound. But yeah, I think that those, A-Rod, Jeter, those would be pretty cool. Those would be pretty special at bats, for me.
Yeah, I like that.
We don't bring up Jeter to Kip, dude. He deked him so bad one time. There's a famous video. See, look at Kip. We don't bring up Jeter when Kip's on, okay?
You do this intentionally. He did not. I didn't even look at him during this play. It was a straight steal.
Anyways, dude, trust me, Tarik, you don't want to smoke a Barry Bonds because there's just
the Barry
nowhere to
that
go
you
with
played
him.
with, AJ.
Dude, I played with him. There's no hole. There's a hole about this big you could get in at.
What's the at bat? Was it Gagne?
Yes.
Yes.
I was there. I was on the team.
He hits a foul homer.
I was on the team. I was in the dugout.
Yeah, there's like once a year, everyone, it gets brought up, like, who's the best hitter of all time? When Aaron Judge is doing what he's doing right now, it's like, if he does this for 6, 7 more years, is he going to be the greatest hitter of all time? And it's like, okay, wait a second, let's go watch Barry Bonds hit a little bit, and then you watch that at bat, and it's like, that at bat. I mean, obviously he came out on the wrong end of it, but I bet he is like, I mean, that is one of the most memorable. That's probably the most memorable at bat for his career, I would think, right? Like Barry Bonds, great. You're throwing 95 to 97, and he just turns on one and sends it out into the cove. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd want to face him at the Giants Stadium too. I think that'd be pretty cool for me.
So listen, there was a whole backstory. We were in Japan a couple years, and Gagne told him he said if I face you non-save, non where I can blow a save, I'm gonna throw you all heaters. I get one break, one off speed, and that was the at bat where he just said shoo 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 shoo. And then if you remember, he threw him one like 60-mile-an-hour curveball. It was like just outside, and they both look at each other and like whew. And then he was like shoo 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 shoo. And Barry hits the one in the cove, and then he takes him deep, and it was like. And they're running, and I'm like, I knew the backstory, and I'm like, no way that just happened in real life.
Yeah, I think that you watch that at bat, it's like, to me, for whatever reason, I don't even know if there was any meaning behind the game, but it's like iconic in my eyes in terms of like baseball history. That's one of the coolest at bats that I watch it at least once, probably more than once a year. I'll probably watch it right when I get off this too. I think that was pretty cool.
Great.
Yeah, that was a video game. Well, Tarik, awesome catching up with you. We'll get you again in a few weeks. Appreciate the time, dude. Keep crushing it, all right?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. That's Tarik Skubal from the Detroit Tigers. We'll be right back for those of you watching on Valley Sports. All right, what's up, FT fam? We got about 10, 15 minutes left in show, but that was good. It was a good combo with Tarik Skubal about the good old days. Obviously, I mean, hey, somebody's got to say it. Comparing Barry Bonds to Aaron Judge is not apples to apples. It's not. I'm sorry. You're going to get some people jumping in at some point.
Nope. It's not even close. I mean, listen, I played against Miggy when he won the Triple Crown.
Yes.
I think Kip was there too. Yeah. I mean, he had an unbelievable year. If Barry Bonds would have faced enough pitching, he would have won the Triple Crown. Like, he would have doubled everybody those years. I mean, I'm telling you, he would
double meaning though. It's double meaning. Okay. Different era. You have to throw the asterisk of some sort, at least verbally.
But listen, but here's the problem that I have with people say that about Barry Bonds. So was everybody else.
Not everybody though.
Not everybody. Okay. Sorry. Not everybody, but there was enough people that were doing things to even even the playing field. And I don't care. Pitchers were doing it too. So let's not forget that there was pitchers that did stuff too. Okay. But let me tell you this. The only guy I ever saw, and I played for him with a whole year, and I went to Japan with him in 2002, and I'll never forget, Pat Burrell said this on our team. Barry Bonds got pitched to, and he hit it like a missile for a single. And he said to me, he looks me in the eye and goes, I am disappointed he didn't hit a home run. The only guy I've ever seen where he went to the plate and got pitched to, and he didn't go deep. You expected him to go deep, and that's the only guy I can ever say that about.
Yeah, he was a custom player on a video game where I'm just speeding everything up to 99, all the attributes. Yeah, no holes, the whole deal. So still highly respected.
He had a hole about this big. If you could throw it like here on him, it was like, he was
inside?
like, I mean, if you could throw it like right here, like you can't see it, but like it was like about this big. If you could throw it right there, you could maybe get him.
Where the knob was for him?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it was impossible.
Isn't there a story about him? Like he walked through his whole next at bat of what's going to happen, where he's going to try to pitch me first pitch fastball in, then he's going to go backdoor breaking ball. I'm going to spin on it. He's going to come back to the fastball in, spin on it, and for the fourth pitch, he's going to go fastball away, and I'm going to hit him a home run left center, and it played out exactly like that.
No, yeah, he would. It was a joke. It was legitimately a video game for him. Yeah, I've told many Barry Bonds. The favorite one was when he's like 659.
Let's hit those locks quickly. KC falls. So AJ falls. Cam just can't get on the winning side of things. I got a nice, sweaty Arizona Diamondbacks dub yesterday. So let's get right to them right now. Kip, yours looks chunky, so you go first. There's a lot to it. There's 3 layers. It's a lot.
I'm tired of hearing that. There is. So we're on a winning streak. We were 0-4, and we were down a lot. And I think we had one big win to bring us back to this one. So we're trying to double up and go for it again. It's a 3-team parlay that I got to bring it up just so I get it right here. We're going to go Yankees money line, Mets -1.5 versus the Rockies, and Mariners -1.5 versus the Tigers. So that comes out to plus 433. So we're going to do $500 on that to win roughly around 2,700. Ship it.
Boom. There you
Wow.
go.
We're
That's a
going for
biggie.
it. We're getting back in the green today.
Wow. Okay. All right. Wow. All right.
Scare money don't make money. AJ, what's yours?
Mine's easy. Mine's Dylan Cease over 7.5. I think it's 7.5 punch outs.
Yep, it is.
Against the Pittsburgh. And then the Guardians are going to beat the D-backs today. Why? Because the Guardians aren't going to lose 2 in a row. And I think the D-backs bullpen is kind of depleted. Although Gallen pitched deeper in the game than he probably should have yesterday. But I think the Guardians win tonight. That's a 2-game parlay. That gets me to plus 249.
I like it. I'll go Twins money line -115, just 115 to win a hundo. They're taking on the Cubbies. They've won 6 in a row. The Twins have. Cubs are playing better ball, but I think pretty equal on the offensive side. Probably maybe a slight edge to the Twins, and then I'll give Pablo Lopez an edge over Imanaga. I mean, it'll be a good matchup, but I think
By the way,
Pablo Lopez at even money is. I'll take it. Yeah.
By the way, the over/under in that game is 6. By the way, 6.
Makes sense. So yeah, this is going to be close. I wasn't going to do a run line on anybody. If 3-2
I got
win,
and I'm scared because I was going to take the White Sox to win tonight against our guy Chicken Strip and the Street.
No, you can't do it. You can't do it. But you can use the bonus code FOUL for a first bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you sign up for a new account. And if the bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We will be right back to slap. And there's some breaking news on a game that's going to take place next year at a very unique destination.
But this week, you guys could be welcoming some key pieces back. Could get the Bazooka back. You could get Brazier back possibly by tonight. I don't know if you're ready and willing to reveal that yet. Of course, Michael Grove not too far behind. Give us a general update about particularly those 3 guys, what we can see this week, and where they fit in the bullpen mix.
Yeah, as far as the activations go, it's a little higher than my pay grade, but we'll see. I'll kind of just show up to stretch and see who's ready to roll that night. But yeah, if we could get some of these key guys back, it would be great. And even, there are going to be some tough decisions to make. A lot of these guys have been throwing the rock really well, and you only get so many roster spots. So I think it's more of a timing component, making sure that our guys are in good positions to carry this through down the stretch. But getting a guy like Gratterall back, Brazier, Michael Grove even, he's been looking fantastic in AAA. That I think guys kind of forget about. I think he was sitting 99 his last game, and he's got his slider cruising. So just getting some of these pieces back will really help kind of flush us out. But we're just excited to kind of hit the ground running down the stretch here, and hopefully we can get some of our other bats back in the lineup. And what everyone's been doing, with our coaching staff and the pieces. Gavin Lux hitting 3 holes has been so much fun for me to watch. I've been watching this guy for years, way back to Great Lakes. He's right where he belongs. So it's been a pleasure to kind of watch these guys go through it. And so we're just excited to get some of these pieces back and hit the ground running.
And after a very hectic and not very good July, although it being a very busy one, July, the Dodgers bullpen allowed 1 run in 11 1/3 innings this weekend in Oakland with 12 strikeouts, no free passes. They retired 13 of 14 batters on Sunday, with the only hit being a sun double, that pesky sun in Northern California. So what does this say to you, Clint? Has the bullpen figured it out?
I mean, I think we still need to see a little bit more. Luckily, bullpen has some help coming back, but absolutely on the right track. I feel when Evan Phillips got that big out, Brent Rooker, bases loaded, comes in to relieve River Ryan, that was the moment there. Like, Evan Phillips is back on track. I think everybody is back on track right behind him. So that's where I feel really, really confident about this team moving forward in the right direction. And again, a couple more pieces coming back. We'll talk to Connor about those guys when they come back as well. So good stuff all around. Good stuff. You beat up on a team you need to beat up on. That's what you hope for in Oakland.
Did you guys see this breaking news? It just came through about a game going down next year. Evan Drellick and Jordan Bianchi. Bianchi's a motorsports reporter for The Athletic. Drellick, we know well, reports on the game, on our game. Braves Reds next season at Tennessee's iconic Bristol Motor Speedway next year.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. I knew about this. I wasn't allowed to talk about it, though.
Yeah.
What? You could have broken the news?
I was told I was not allowed to speak about it because it's going to be a Fox thing. It's like the Field of Dreams, the Rickwood game, stuff like that. And you know why they're doing it? They want to set the all-time attendance record for a sporting event in America because Bristol holds over 100,000. And when they put the baseball field in, they can get whatever the record is right now. They can break that at Bristol for one of the major sports. So
Braves Reds.
Braves Reds. Bristol's right by Braves. Bristol.
I understand the Braves part.
I mean, they had to find an opponent.
Yeah, it's got to be in the schedule. Okay.
I'm trying to think of what would be like closer or just another like a Braves Phillies or something just for the teams. I don't know. Reds are good. It's gonna be awesome. I'm downplaying the Reds more than it sounds like I am. I'm not. It's a good one.
I get it. I mean, it's not like the ultimate rivalry, right?
The best possible. What would be the best possible game to have there?
Yeah, that's certainly not a rivalry between the Braves and the Reds, but obviously Braves fans travel. They really travel. That's the whole.
Oh, I'm going. I don't care. I'll be there next year. I don't care. Sorry, I need a day off that day.
Yeah.
Done. Or you can do the show from there. CFT fam, we'll see you on Wednesday. But stay here if you're on YouTube. Wait, so one fan, Everett, just said 170,000?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I might be going to that too.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy, bro.
I want to see that. I want to be a part of it. Part of history.
That's got FT live show written all over it. I mean, to some degree.
If you can figure out,
Did they release a date?
I don't think so.
Not yet. They just said it's happening next year.
Yeah. Why? You going to check your calendar?
I want to put it on the calendar.
No, that's fair. I know. As soon as we know, we'll check it out. I don't think I see a date yet, but I could be wrong. Someone else can help me out. It's sometimes difficult to sift through the news and do the show. But anyway, that's cool. I'm all about that. By the way, for anyone in the chat here, Baseball America Hot Sheet coming up next, coming off our biggest show ever for BA Hot Sheet, which was coming off the trade deadline. So we'll get caught up on all the prospect news. There it is. Tuesdays, 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's JJ and many others from Baseball America joining us. So just stay here. We can do a little redirect on YouTube and take you right over to Baseball America Hot Sheet. So please join us, hang out in the chat. If you have any prospect questions, we get very, very deep into that scene. So Kip, this was fun, man. We have one more Kip sighting, I think, this week, right?
Tomorrow.
Let's go.
Kip's back
tomorrow.
Nice.
Back to backs. Rest up, ice up. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it.